Hello Aeternum and welcome to KOTT News, Aeternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. Dynamic change in the history of Aeternum last night as the forces of Dogged Down capture the northern mountain region of Morningdale. KOTT News were on the scene and spoke with company leadership about the outcome. Congratulations on your victory here in Morningdale, able to get in the fort with 15 minutes, one giant push to 75% with about 10 minutes left, but they got you out. Not enough to stop you, though, at the 3-minute mark as you go back in and capture the flag. Would you care to take us through any pivotal moments you saw out there?
Yeah, I mean, there were definitely a couple. We got some pretty massive wipes on both of the points outside. We got some like really lucky points, some really lucky like grab deados on point. I feel like our point team went crazy. And then in the fort, like the fort game was just really solid. Their fort game was really solid. They had every door was kind of like basically full the whole time. I think we just got a lot of pressure overall around all side gates. Back gates kind of went. I think it was just literally we just came in through all gates and crashed well. Everyone just did their jobs. Honestly, the calls were outstanding. By the way, like if you don't know, Apple's calls in that war were actually on point. I'd definitely go back through and watch his point of view from it. It was actually crazy.
Was there anyone else out there tonight that might have stood out in their performance for you guys?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like not to just constantly talk about mercs, but like we had a really good group of mercs. They showed up and did what they needed to do. Kind of like all of them, really. Like they all kind of went crazy. We had a couple roster issues last minute, but our mercs just showed up and did what they needed to do.
An unusual patch introduced last night, interrupting reporting services today, but hopefully solving more issues for others. A last-minute invasion in Restless Shore was able to breach the gates, but damage to services were light, so should be repaired shortly. Today's afternoon should be a pleasant day of trials and tribulations as the citizens continue to investigate the extreme conditions in the deserts of Brimstone Sands. But speaking of extreme, volunteers for tonight's corruption invasion response squads should sign up early to properly prepare for their advance across 40% of the island. 3 more submissions for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. Tonight, the Covenant converts of Outcast attack the Syndicate members of JDB's Kitchen for control of the bear-infested forests of Brightwood. The PandaCast forces have been stepping up their game of late and make another attempt to take out the Syndicate powerhouse and expand their holy domain. But JDB's Kitchen has been fine-tuning their skills over the last 2 weeks and have no problem showing up with an intent to completely hold the fort in the forest. Meanwhile, the Marauders of Gorilla Town assail the Syndicate members of Commit for control of the master fishing region of Reekwater. The evicted forces of Gorilla Town, dealing with the loss of their holdings in First Light, migrate to the east and attempt to secure a new resource-rich region for their armies. But the Swamp People of Commit have fallen back to regroup after their defeat in the Fen and have their entire company anxious to get back into the win column again tonight. In the nightcap, the Syndicate members of Viva la Resistance assault the Marauders of Gorilla Town for crowning kingdom of the Western Monarch's Bluff. The newcomers of Viva la Resistance have been putting in the grind and have identified the monarchy as the place to assert themselves as a great house of the island. Gorilla Town will be fighting in back-to-back encounters after their battle in the eastern swamps, but should be able to handle all of their defensive responsibilities. Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News.